The pick is in, Rams house. At 197th overall, the Los Angeles Rams are selecting C.J. Daniels, wide receiver out of Miami. On today's episode of the Rams Report, presented by Prize Picks, we're going to break down the selection of Daniels and what he brings to this Rams team, both for the now and for the future. But I need to let you guys know, before we get into this thing, if you're not already subscribed, if you're not already locked in with the Ramily here on the Rams Report by Chat Sports, we have been covering this draft pick to pick all year, or all draft long, all weekend long. Sorry, it's been such a busy couple of days. I just said year instead of all weekend long. But we have been here all draft. I've been doing shorts for you guys. I've been doing long-form videos for you guys. All the content that you need around the Rams draft picks, around what the Rams are doing on draft day, we have you covered. They made a trade to come up and get this selection. So we're going to talk about that trade before we dive into C.J. Daniels a little bit deeper. But at the end of the day, this is a trade that sent the 197th overall selection from Philadelphia to us in exchange for multiple picks here. So we gave up the 207th, the 251st, and the 252nd overall picks in the NFL draft. So 3 picks for 1 pick to move up 10 spots. I don't mind the cost to go up and get C.J. Daniels at all, though, because when I watch C.J. Daniels' tape, when I look at C.J. Daniels as a receiver, and we never talked about receivers in this draft range on the Rams Report because, to be honest with you, coming into this draft, I didn't think it was a range that we would take receiver in. I thought we would have addressed receiver earlier on, but it does seem like the Rams trust their day 3 process, and they trust their archetypes with receiver. And C.J. Daniels absolutely fits into their archetypes. He reminds me so much of, just from like a on paper mold, the same mold that Cooper Kupp is in, the same mold that Puka is in to some degrees. These more experienced, older recruits, or older prospects, recruits, kind of a high school word, older prospects who have a lot of production, but don't jump off the page athletically. Guys who sometimes come from smaller schools. C.J. Daniels obviously graduated from Miami, but originally started at Liberty. Got his start going there, and that's where he was most productive in his college career, with a 1,000-yard season his second year as a Liberty Flame. That's the word for it. All right, let's see what Dane Brugler had to say. Daniels might lack explosive speed, but he creates separation with crafty instincts and finishes with dependable ball skills. He projects best inside as a big slot in the NFL who can rely on his awareness and toughness to be productive. And I absolutely agree with that. I think Daniels' role day 1 is probably going to be pretty small. I think he's going to be behind Mupfield in the receiver room. He's definitely going to be behind Jordan Whittington as well. But I think he can find a way to create and carve out a niche for himself in this offense, because he's very much, as I said, in the mold of the receivers that McVay likes, both in terms of just like the age, the style, the productivity at the college level, but also the gameplay on the field. He is a willing and able blocker. He participates in the blocking scheme as far as run blocking goes. He has the size and the strength to win in those situations. Like I said, he doesn't blow you away athletically. That's not really how he wins, but he wins with incredibly smart and veteran-savvy route running. His route craft is excellent at the end of the day. I think he's one of the more underrated route runners in this entire class, and I think he'll thrive in a Sean McVay offense that's never once relied on its receivers to be unbelievable athletes, but to create for them, McVay creates the scheme for you. He gets you open, and then you create with the ball in your hands. I think C.J. Daniels can absolutely do that. So let me know, before we dive more into this, what do you think? Grade the C.J. Daniels pick for me at 197. You can kind of include the trade in your grading process. Get down in the comments and give me a grade on this pick and the trade that helped make it happen. And while you do that, I have to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, guys, and that is Prize Picks. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. If you love daily fantasy sports or you just want to make watching sports even more exciting, you've got to try out Prize Picks. It's a great time to get started on Prize Picks, too, with playoff basketball in full swing and the baseball season underway as well. There's no better place to cash in on that action than Prize Picks. It's super easy to play, too, guys. You just pick 2 to 6 players, and you select more or less on their stat projections, whether it's points, rebounds, assists, if you're going with basketball. If you're more of a baseball guy, you can choose from stats like hits, home runs, and strikeouts. PrizePicks also has really awesome social features as well, guys. One of the things that I love about it is basically a social media platform. You can follow your friends. You can see what they're up to. You can even follow me or your other favorite creators who are on PrizePicks. I'm Jackson Durham with no spaces in my username if you guys want to follow me. You can see all the latest lineups I've been creating, just like this one where I'm going with the less on Fernando Mendoza, the less on Jeremiah Love, and the more on Jordan Tyson. That's a 20 to win you 120 if you want to tail me or fade me on this lineup. Whatever you do, just do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. And if you're a new user, download the PrizePicks app today. Use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups, guys. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with PrizePicks. The clickable link to download the app is in the comments and the description. All right, so let's look at the draft in totality at this point. And again, I think you can kind of realize, if you weren't already on board with my theory and my philosophy about what this Rams draft is, and look, I say it's my theory, my philosophy. It's not my philosophy. It's Les Snead and McVay's philosophy, and my theory about what their philosophy is. At the end of the day, this draft is not meant to support a Super Bowl win in 2026. If beyond depth, these guys, if they have to play in 2026, it's largely going to be because injuries came up. I think that's true of everybody here to the nth degree, except for maybe Max Clayer, who could play his way into a role at tight end because of the rate at which we're going to run 13 personnel. If he could become tight end 3, he's going to have a significant role on this team, but I think even that can be an uphill battle. That doesn't mean these are wasted draft picks. It just means you have to understand the vision, and I don't think the vision is that far off of what the vision was last year. Like, I think the main frustration that people had with the draft class last season, and it was, for a lot of us, a frustrating draft class, not many of those guys ended up contributing in year one. Not many of those guys ended up being day one assistants. And that frustrated people. Terrence Ferguson did not have a big role from day one. Josiah Stewart did not have a big role from day one. Jarquez Hunter did not have a big role from day one. Konate Mupfield was one of our most productive rookies last year. I understand why that frustrates people. But the Rams are not drafting for now. The Rams are not drafting with the idea that all of these guys come in and immediately help the team. I think you have to look back a little bit and realize, like, hey, this has kind of been the vision for a while. The Rams are okay if rookies are not immediately productive. And it isn't just because, and I see this narrative a lot, Sean McVay has a no-rookie policy. That's, for lack of a better word, that's bullshit. Like, Sean McVay plays rookies if the rookies earn their jobs. Puka Nacua reset the rookie receiving record book. So, like, you could get on the field if you're a rookie. If C.J. Daniels and Max Clayer are incredible players, they can earn their jobs. But I think the Rams realize, in their view, there are not that many guys in this draft class that are immediate impact makers for their team. There are not that many guys in this draft class that move the needle for them. And even if they do, is it significant enough to warrant taking that path over taking a path that they feel better prepares them for the future? What they do not want to do is repeat 2021 and 2022. Think back to it. You win the Super Bowl in 2021. It's awesome. It's amazing. You have reached the zenith of the NFL, and what do you do in 2022? You become one of the 10 teams in NFL history to miss the playoffs the year after a Super Bowl. Super Bowl hangover hit the Rams harder than it's hit teams in years the last time we got one done. They won't let it happen again. And the more I think about it, the more I respect the strategy. The more I respect the idea that, hey, we don't want to just win a Super Bowl and call it an effing day. We want to win a Super Bowl and then go win another Super Bowl and then go win another Super Bowl and win more Super Bowls after that and be competing for years. It's not just about Matthew Stafford. It's not just about 2026. It can't just be about 2026 because the Rams do not end when Matthew Stafford does. The Rams will continue to be a football team. Sean McVay will continue to be our head coach, and we have to think beyond. And I think that is exactly what they are doing here. And the more I put time and effort into thinking about it, the more I get on board. The more I get on board with the idea that 2022 can never be repeated, that 2022 was unacceptable, that of course 2026 can still be a Super Bowl winning season for this team. We can do it on our own home turf at SoFi Stadium, just like we've been talking about for months, but it doesn't have to mean that you go all in at the cost of your future. That it doesn't have to mean that you suck ass for the next 3 years just so you could get another ring. I think there is a middle ground. You can walk the tightrope in between those two paths, still get the ring and still be competitive for years beyond. That is exactly what the Rams are trying to do here. They are trying to take the narrow path in between. It is not easily done. It isn't what I expected, but I do think it's smart. I do think, and at the end of the day, hey, that's why Les Snead and Sean McVay are at the helm of this franchise, and I am not. At the end of the day, because the more I invest time into their strategy, I think I like it more than I liked mine coming into this thing. But let me know, what do you think? What is your thoughts on the Rams draft strategy? Do you agree with me? Are you coming around like I am? Because I am really coming around, guys. I'm fired up about this draft strategy. I'm fired up about the Rams right now. I feel like I'm always fired up about this team. I love this team. If you can't tell, and if you're not already subscribed to watch me get fired up about this team on a regular basis, then make sure you do that, because if you enjoyed today's video, there's more like it coming your way. But I want to know, what do we think about the Rams draft strategy? Where are we at right now mentally as we head towards the final pick that the Rams have in the 230s in the 7th round? I think it's 232 off the dome. I will see you guys shortly after that. We're not gonna do an individual pick cut for the 7th round pick. We're not gonna do a video for that one, but we will immediately after the draft ends have a day 3 grades video out for you guys on the Rams and just kind of a summation of the draft in totality. We'll talk a little bit more about exactly what every single member of this draft brings to the Rams team. So that's coming your way tonight. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'm gonna see you then.